Hello, hello, hello. Hey guys, what is up? This is Olivia Igwe coming live from London. If you guys are watching on a replay, drop us a hashtag style. Of course, this will also be on a podcast, so you may not have to do a hashtag style, but what you can do is also share it onto your feed and tell us what nuggets resonated the most. Today, I'm really excited. As promised, we're going to have Lily. Well, Lily's next to me, and I'm going to explain a little bit of like how we know each other. But the most important today is just talking about how network marketing changed into beautiful things and how it made us into molding us into a better person. I truly do believe everyone is at some level, some shape, some form. So, Lily, welcome to the show. Yay!
Thank you for having me. Thank you. I adore you. I love your energy. Love your energy.
I love yours. And for the ones that don't know, Lily and I, because I put it in the caption on Facebook, but we connected through Clubhouse. Now, I can't remember which one it was. It must have been like a room that we were in. Well, obviously must have been a room. But from Clubhouse to Insta, you've always had like this bubbly personality, this whole taking the way of life. I wish you would document more of what's going in your life because I'm like, I just want to see. But that's the beauty of us not knowing because Lily is in the US. You're in Florida.
Yes, I am. Yeah, okay. I'm in Florida.
Yeah, I was like, wait, Florida, Miami. Well, no, not Miami. Are you Miami?
No, I was in Miami. Miami's its own world, but I'm north of Miami and central. I'm in Central Florida in a city called Winter
Central
Park.
Florida.
I'm sorry, Winter Garden. I don't even know where I live. I'm in Winter Garden. I'm in the center of the state.
Okay, wait, is that where they have the roller coaster?
Disney. I mean, Disney's out here. We got
no, not Disney. The
Universal
other one.
Studios?
Not Universal Studios. Is it Secret Garden? Where there's like huge roller coasters.
Busch Gardens is in Tampa. Busch Gardens.
Okay, well, I got carried away on that one. Okay.
I take it.
So how are you,
roller coasters?
I love roller coasters.
Then welcome to network marketing.
I was about to like say that too. So tell me, how did well, first of all, we were a little bit late because Lily has to actually explain the fact that where were you? So people know that you also live an extraordinary adventurous life.
I was in the woods. So one of my friends from Miami, it was her birthday. So two of them drove up to Central Florida. I figured no big deal. Everybody's got Wi-Fi. We're out in the woods, literally in the middle of nowhere. Deer comes out in the morning and in the evening. It's the neatest little cabin with the worst, and I mean the worst, Wi-Fi. So my friends were all like trying to load up reels. We're trying to do what we're normal, right? Every day we normally load up our pictures. We put up our content. We don't think about it because it's instant when we're in the city. It was not like that. So early this morning, packed up the car. I'm like, I better get back to the city to do this podcast with you because, girl, it was out in the middle of nowhere, which I love because sometimes we got to escape from the city.
Of course.
And there's beautiful springs. Living in Miami, I never really knew that. Florida had such a beautiful side of it. So I've embraced it. I love where I live. And yeah, so early this morning, I was hanging out with the deers. And now I'm with you, my dears.
I love it. With the deers, to me, deer, I love it. That's absolutely fun. And you know what? I think we get so used to things that weren't normal back in the day. You know, when we connected with AOL, we had to like connect onto social media and we only had like 5 minutes. I don't know if you remember that. And then it was only to get onto MSN, or was it, some other things that we did.
AOL chat.
AOL chat for a couple of minutes and then you turn yourself off and you go to be able to connect.
Donna, you've got mail. You're not old enough to know that.
Girl, I still have an AOL account. To be honest, my AOL was called White Rose 88. And then I was just like, it didn't sound so cool to have it. And so because I wanted something like Destiny's Child, that was really funky, etc. But White Rose 88 did not sound cool. So I just put it back to Olivia Igwe, but it doesn't actually really matter at this point, So tell me a little bit about how you got into network marketing. And there's one thing that you pointed out, which I absolutely love, which is the beauty of connection. How did you get started? Because I got confused. ADHD. I said she was a lawyer. She was a
She was like, oh,
paralegal.
yeah, no, my friends are correcting that. Like, your girl, you were not no lawyer. I'm like, okay, I'll let her know. Corrected. I stand corrected. I was a paralegal.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how did that,
Which,
like, was that something that you wanted to do for a long time, or was it just because your parents
absolutely.
told you had to do something?
My
Okay.
goal was to be a judge. Absolutely.
Okay.
Like, my goal was to go from paralegal. I worked for an incredible lawyer in the city that I lived in down in Miami. I was young. You know, when you're young, you've got all these like expectations
Mm,
of yourself. And I
yeah.
always heard growing up, Lily's got the, that gift of gab, and she's got to be a lawyer. She's got to be a lawyer. That's all I heard. And I don't know who's listening, but how many times do we make our path according to what other people tell us that we're good at? And I did. I really did love working for lawyers. You know,
Yeah.
paralegals, we pretty much have to learn everything. We don't have the title of a lawyer. We don't
Yeah.
have that licensing, right, of a lawyer. We've got to
Yeah.
go and pay for that. We have to go and study longer. But at the end of the day, a very good paralegal makes her attorney look good. That's the whole point. Like, if you're really good at your job, your lawyer it looks really good in front of a judge. So that
Mm,
was the trajectory that I was on. Unexpected experiences happened in my life when I was very, very young. I was 22 years young, and it changed the direction. It changed the direction of my life. So I knew at that moment, right, that, okay, wait a second, I might not be a lawyer. And the idea of not
mm,
becoming a lawyer was
mm.
like, are you kidding me? I felt like I was defying what was already set for me. So
Yeah.
then I started studying to be a teacher, right? Because I thought, well, as a mom, what's the best that I could do for my daughter? I'm going to go be a teacher. I'm
Yeah.
going to go study to be a teacher. And then I made the mistake of going to work at a school before I graduated.
Okay.
I love kids.
Yeah.
Love
Well, I mean,
kids.
what, you got 7 kids.
I got 7 kids, right? I love kids. But at that time in my life, I only had one, right?
Mm,
And I'm like, oh my gosh, I love the kids, their parents, not so much. Because
yeah.
like they strip your authority away, and it's like you're trying to work with them and you're trying to teach the kid, and then you see the parent enabling the kid. And I
Yeah.
had a tough time with that. So my principal was like, hey, if you are gonna criticize the parent, you can't work here. And I'm like, I'm not
Mm,
criticizing the parent. I'm like, we need to have like support for the parent. Like, we need to help these parents, because the kids, that's kind of when like kids started like to defy authority, and the parents would be
okay.
like, well,
Yeah.
you can't just tell Bobby to sit down. I'm like, by golly, I can tell Bobby to sit down. He's in my class. But long story short, I went from paralegal, then I started to teach, working with kids, but my
Okay.
family started to grow. And I still did some paralegal work. There was an attorney I worked with in Atlanta. Kind of
Right.
went back to doing that. Comfort zones. Am I the
Yeah.
only one that ever goes back to a comfort zone? Am I the only one? So
No, you're not the only one, girl.
I went back to my comfort zone, started working for a lawyer till my fifth daughter was born. And that's it.
Okay.
That's when I said, I need to do something from home. Okay, back then, I'm going to totally age myself. There were jobs licking envelopes. Okay. There was no such thing as a remote job. You can work from home, but I mean, you were stuck licking envelopes, right? Like, that's kind of the work from home that we
Really?
had as an option. Oh my God. Yeah. You got paid for licking envelopes. So there was that. eBay came along. So
Yeah.
now I'm making money selling stuff on eBay. Lily's Treasures for You was the name of my store. And I just
No
started,
way.
no freaking joke. I would literally get up early, go to garage sales, buy stuff, resell it on eBay. Once a hustler, always a hustler. But I got sick, stress. And I ended up with something
Yeah.
called Bell's palsy right
What's that?
after I think it was before my fifth daughter was born, somewhere around that time frame in my life. Bell's palsy, your face begins to droop. And it's very embarrassing because, like, your saliva, you can't control it. Your face is drooping. Started going to all kinds of different doctors. And of course, they did this brain scan, and they decided to give me a little label called MS. And they said,
Oh.
you have all the underlying symptoms of MS. So I went on. Anybody remember MySpace?
Oh
Anybody
my
ever
God.
remember MySpace? And
MySpace.
I posted on there. I'm like, hey, you know, I've been sick. I'm under a lot of stress. I've got this thing called MS. I don't want to go down the route of prescription after prescription because I mean, I'm an observant individual and I saw friends who were taking the prescriptions and they weren't getting better. So if I would have seen friends who had MS that were taking everything the doctor gave them and they got better, come on, right? Common sense. I would have been like, I'm filling those prescriptions. And I went ahead, put it on MySpace, and a friend of mine calls me. She's like, girl, I have really bad fibromyalgia. My doctor in Miami came up with a great supplement. I'm going to send it to you. I just want you to use it. Give me your opinion. She sends it. I'm not kidding you, man. God is my witness. A month later, I was legit taking this product. I was like, I'm going to see what it does. I call her up, you know, like a drug dealer, right? I'm like, hey, send me some more of that stuff. I'm going to the gym. My face is no longer drooping. It literally helped. Nobody knew what glutathione was back in the day. Everybody talks about glutathione now. You've got
Yeah,
a
now
bunch
it's
of
like the
companies.
thing.
Yeah, now it's a thing. I remember I wanted to say the word correctly. And one of the leaders in my company was like, just think of glue your thigh on. That's how he taught me to say glutathione. I'll never forget.
Glutathione.
So I have no idea what network marketing is. Mind you, I've been corporate minded all my life.
Okay.
I knew how to hustle, sell on eBay, but network marketing, like those are those pyramid things, right? Like I had no clue. I'm going to own it. I was ignorant to that whole world, right?
No.
And I call her and I want more product. She's like, okay, let me call you back tomorrow. So again, I'm going to age myself. Back in the day, the way you got people into network marketing was something called a three-way call. She didn't warn me. She didn't tell me she was going to put me on some three-way call. Girl, have you met me? I'm originally from Jersey. What you see is what you get. So I'm on this call and this really nice, soft-spoken, oh, hi, Lily. I'm so glad to meet you. And I'm like, who are you? And it ended up being her sponsor at the company. And I was so rude. I'll own it. I was so rude to that woman. I'm like, well, I don't understand. Like, why are you calling me? I just want
the products. That's all I want.
Yeah. And literally, not to even bore you with my story, because everybody has their own way of how they got into this industry. I didn't ask to get into this industry. I just wanted the product, for God's sake. Like, send me a link or whatever and I'll buy it. Lo and behold, this woman calls me out on my rudeness, right? She goes, well, you know, your friend, she got me good. Your friend mentioned that you had 5 kids and you want to work from home, but maybe that's not important to you. She goes, I've raised 5 kids from home. Whenever you're interested and you're really wanting to stay home and work and be there for your children, then you can give me a call. Talk about humility. Talk about going, meow. I was humbled. So, of course, we hang up the call. My ex-husband and my husband at the time is like, you were really rude to that woman. I'm like, I don't want to join a business. I just want more of the product. And he looks at me, he goes, why don't you just listen, Lillian, right? Like, listen, Lillian. You know that whole listen, Linda? I don't know if it went through the UK like it did here. Listen, Linda, or listen, Lillian. And I called her back and I apologized. I said, hey, I was really rude to you. I don't know what you're talking about. You know, I've been working on my life. Like, literally, I've been working since I was 15 years old, young, you know. So she says, I'll explain it to you. Let me hold your hand. Let me teach you how to do this business. And that's how my career with network marketing started. And that woman, if we were to invite her to be on this show with us, she would attest how stubborn. I made no money. I was very stubborn. I was very unteachable. I did not want to follow the system. You're laughing because how many of us recruit the Lillians of the world, right? Holy smoke, was I unteachable.
That will not work. That will not do anything.
It doesn't.
I mean, I can call myself out the first ones. My first one, the first one I got was like $13 on like a rank that I got. And then after that, I was just like, it's not working, blah, blah, blah. It's not for me. Until God is like, just humble yourself. So.
And isn't it great when we humble ourselves and we become like teachable? The kind of money we can make the moment that we say, here, my God, use me. Like, I don't know Jack. I don't know Jack. Like, just teach me.
Just teach
And
me.
I don't know if you've ever heard of Danny Johnson. She's retired now, but I committed to 1 year of studying under Danny Johnson and really understanding the industry of network marketing. Because I'll tell you something, and I don't know if there's a listener out there that needs to hear this. We are all in sales. Every single human is either selling someone else's services.
Yeah.
As a paralegal, I better know how to sell my boss's services or I'm going to be out of a job, right? I had to teach every client that came in there that my boss was the bomb.com. Make sure all our documents were done correctly, right? I'm selling his services.
Yeah.
Every single one of us is selling somebody else's service or somebody else's product. Yeah. Every single time that you say to someone, oh my God, I had dinner at Agave yesterday and that place is amazing. You got to go to Agave. I'm selling for Agave.
Oh yeah, big time.
Why we take an emotional interest when we choose to get into network marketing, in my mind, I'll never understand that. Because all we're doing is, again, sharing a product, sharing a service, and we have to detach the emotion from what we're doing.
Oh yeah.
I share it. If you buy it, great. And if you don't, that's fine too. Go on with your life. That is when I started to make money. The moment I detached my emotion from the outcome, that is when I started to make money.
Yeah, and I love what you're saying, because I'll talk about it all the time. You are always selling something, either selling it for someone, selling someone's dream, or you're selling what you believe in. And that, get this right, you know, Nike, and whoever's watching, Nike is doing an affiliate program. So, you know, it's the same thing. Or when my boyfriend had a restaurant, every time I recommended the restaurant, bless his heart, he hasn't paid me anything for recommending it to all the people that came in and that also ate at the same time. Like, nobody did. So it's just about being smart. And the thing today is, like, you got to remember, people buy from people that they trust. So you, Lily, when you were talking about the product, they trusted you. They didn't need to necessarily know you at 1,000%. And that's why social media, same thing. When we connected on Clubhouse, I didn't per se know you, but you sold your energy, which is what people want more of. I mean, well, I guess you and I want that. I'm not wanting to be surrounded by people that are negative. It's not the point of life.
Agreed.
Like, I don't want that. You're negative. Go and find a tree. Go and hug it. Go and, like, repent yourself. But you're not hanging around me. Like, I only want people that have dreams, that are really go-getters. So you said your first network marketing company, you didn't earn at all. So what happened? Was it like the next one once you detach yourself from the outcome, or was it like you had to go rock bottom and just like, why did you stay in for 17 years? Like, please give me the tea.
All of the above, babe. All of the above. You know, it's like you're not earning. It's frustrating. And with each company, I learned a little bit more, right? Went off from that company to sell something called Skinny Coffee. You couldn't say Skinny Coffee without somebody taking out a checkbook. Now you've got all kinds of coffees, right? It's really nice when you're the first.
Yeah.
When you're the first in bringing something to the market, like that original company was the first to bring out a glutathione product. Then I'm in a company that's the first to bring out a damn coffee with a thermogenic in it. You got people disappearing. Their hearts are going out of control, but you got people disappearing. So it's sold. It started to sell. And, you know, I started to learn. I started to listen. I really attached myself to leaders I respected. Yeah. And I think that is where my growth boomed, because I had the privilege and the honor to working with a woman. And this is key. She was interested and invested in my growth.
Yeah.
Anybody can be interested in your growth, because obviously, right, in network marketing, you make money, I make money.
Yeah, of course.
But she was invested to see me grow. There was no competition, right? If I went higher than she celebrated me. Have you ever heard, go where you're celebrated, not where you're tolerated? Right? And when you work with leaders that are celebrating you, a real leader builds another leader.
Yeah.
Anybody can say they're a leader. I made X amount of money this year. Look at the car that I drive. Look at the house that I drive. My question is, how many people on your team are
Mm.
driving a nice car? How many people on your team can really say that they're debt free?
Mm.
Right? And it takes work. We can't do it for our team, but if we put the tools out there, the necessary resources, and we're able to help the team, the people who know and like and trust us, right?
Mm.
And we're able to say, here's the tools. Here's the thing though, and let me say this really clear. 1 out of 10 people will put those tools to work.
Yeah.
9 will complain, and they'll say, I mean, I've got people sitting in my organization with literally a $10,000 check a month that they're passing it up because they're not building, right? They can't just get paid on my hard work. But if they go out and they go build, they can cash that money. But
Mm.
here's the thing, you can lead a horse to water, but you cannot make them drink. You can give somebody all the tools and say, hey, get out there, share this product. Look, you're sitting on $10,000 a month, right? So it all goes back to something I learned in one of my last companies. And this was literally life changing. Stop wanting what you don't want. And the first time I wrote that down, like you're doing right now, I wrote that down and I'm like, what does that mean? And I remember I would hear it a lot, like, stop wanting what you don't want. And a year after I had written that down in my journal, a friend of mine approached me and said, you're missing out on millions. You're always talking about how you want to do this with your kids. You want to be financially free, but you're not doing the work, Lily. So guess what? When you really want something, you got to do the work. If not, stop wanting what you really don't want.
Yeah, of course.
That was monumentally eye-opening. And that same friend is the one that called me 9 months ago, because it does feel like I've had a baby, and said to me, hey, I know you're out of the industry. You've been in real estate. And I was itching to get back in the industry. And I had posted, I miss having a team. I miss conventions. You know, I really would like to get back into building a team.
Awesome.
And he calls me and he tells me about a product that, okay, kid you not, I had heard about this product in my first company I've ever been in, that glutathione product company.
Yes.
Seriously, I was just too young and too green. But
Yeah.
my aunt had lost a lot of weight on that product. So he's talking to me and I'm like, all I hear is ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching,
Interesting.
because it's not a diet product. It's not thermogenic. It doesn't make people lose weight unhealthy. And I knew, you know, when you know that you know something, and if you're hearing me and you're listening and you're watching this podcast, right? Connect with this beautiful woman because she's doing you a justice. She is really doing this to help you grow. At the end of the day, that's why we're here.
Oh yeah.
When you make a decision, my friends, and that's what I did 9 months ago. I knew the product was great. I was like, hands down, I've seen this product 14 years ago. It had been caught up in litigation, because you got to love litigation. And now it's back on the market. I get the opportunity to help this company launch it. Oh, I went to work. And I made a decision right there and right then. Put my head down, no distractions, and boom. And at the end of the day, that's really where it starts. It's with the decision that we make.
I love how you're so clear on, and it's, you know, you always alert. I think that you've been so good at listening to the signs because you heard of something 14 years ago, and here we are back at a, you know, a circle moment 9 years ago. But every step that you have done, which I love, is that it's not what you have done in the past, is what you've laid down. And even though the failures, you know, from front and, you know, not getting where you're wanting to go, but it's the full circle moment right now where you're like, I've got it. I know. And now it's just to make the decision. And when you look at it down to that, it's actually the hardest thing to do, making the decision. Like being okay that you're going to be uncomfortable every single day and you're going to do what, because your quote, which is awesome, stop wanting what you don't want, which people don't really ask. They always complain about stuff. But if you're complaining and not doing it, then you're just doing the rat race.
Uh-huh.
And I love that you're just, and another thing that you pointed out too is detach yourself from the outcome. I think people today, you're so entitled or you think you're entitled to, it's not because you have a network marketing team or you have people in your team that they belong to you. I think that's the hardest thing. People think they're like, yeah, but then my people, they can leave if they want to leave. Just like you left your paralegal company, you had the choice to leave. You don't want to work at Starbucks, you get to leave. We're not holding you. But you've got to remember, not everybody is as hungry. And you said 1 out of 10 will want the change, but not everybody will want it at the right time, which is just so beautiful. I love that you're saying. And you got so many qualities because you got so much experience that there's no reason why you're not going to crush it. Like you crush it anyway every single day. So tell me just how it was. How did you? I don't believe in balance, but how did you harmonize building a business with your 7 kids?
I love that you said the word harmonize. I have a friend that wrote a book called Balance is Bullshit.
Yeah, well, I really do think it is, because I'm like, it doesn't make any sense. There's something you have to let. I heard this thing. If you say yes to something, a no will have to come through. If you say no to something, that means no. If you say yes to something, something else will cost your no. So yeah, tell me about your friend in the book, and the harmonize.
No, it's just when I read her book, I'm like, wow, it's so true. Like we try to do everything, right? You remember that commercial back in the 90s, I'm a woman, hear me roar. Like I can fry it up, the bacon, fry it up in the pan, then I can go home and be a woman. Yeah, time you get home, you're like, baby, don't even talk to me. I'm going to bed. Yeah, like, don't even talk to me. But when we make, like, again, it always goes back to that pivotal moment of making a decision. We make that decision and then we build from there. We harmonize from there. And right now, today, in this moment, I may not have 7 children that live at home.
Yeah.
Right. But at one point in my life.
Yeah.
And this is the part where I'm like, sometimes my adult children, I'm like, y'all were not always adults. There was a time in my life and I didn't have the nannies. Yeah. I didn't have a cleaning lady. I didn't have a lot of the things. And listen, I have one now, right? Like I have a cleaning lady now. I adore her. I love her. But back in the day, it wasn't even an option. Like I enjoyed being home. I liked cleaning my house. I liked teaching my daughters.
It was something that you liked doing.
Yeah, I enjoyed doing it, right? So I loved my life as a mom with 7. I would have had 20. Anybody who knows me and knows me well knows that I would have had babies until my uterus fell out of my body, which we'll go into that story another day. But that was all. It's just making a decision. So with the 7 kids, it wasn't the can I do this? Yeah. It was the how will I do this? And I learned, I made a lot of mistakes. Because if any of my kids ever hear this podcast, I'm going to put it out right here. I missed out on a lot of things. And I don't want to start crying. There are things that I missed out. My kids were sad. There are days that I was so busy trying to just stay afloat and try to, work and work and work. And what day do we close the month, right? In network marketing. Anybody watching this that's in our industry knows. End of the freaking month, man. Guess what? Halloween falls on the end of the month, right? Here's mom with a headset on and a damn phone trying to make sure all auto ships are going through. Those auto ships better go through. So hindsight is always 2020. I don't think I did it on purpose, right? To make my kids' lives miserable. But I made a lot of mistakes. And that's the part of being human. I love the company where I'm with right now. We close every week. Like a regular 9 to 5, right? Like on Friday, you get paid every Friday, right? So you're literally working your business on the daily. And that for me, right? I never wanted to sacrifice my children on the altar of success. I still have 3 left at home. So I have a 17, a 15, and a 14-year-old that I get to drop my daughter off at volleyball. I get to go take one to theater because she likes to go to theater. One of them is a Taylor Swift crazy, like loves Taylor Swift. Got to take her to a concert. I chose the hardships of this industry because it gives me the freedom to do those things. So just like anything out there, because I did, and you and I have a friend in common, and she and I were on the same trajectory, and I got to watch her life right now as a billionaire. And many of us are praying for her, and she's struggling with her health. Yeah. But I have a text message. I'm getting chills. I have a text message from her because I left the industry. You ever read 3 Feet from Gold? I quit 3 feet from gold.
Seriously?
I did. I quit 3 feet from gold. And I decided to branch into real estate. No regrets, right? Everything in life is a
Yeah,
journey.
no. But I'm like, when we look back, I'm like, man,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Because I look at her now and I'm like, holy crap, if I had just stayed the course,
stay on the
And
course, stay on the
she
running.
texted me and she's like, for God's sake, she's like, geez, Jeez, you know her. She's like, what you see is what you get. She's like, girl, just run, just do it. And my response was, I'm tired. I don't want to. So because of outer exterior, I was going through a divorce. I can sit here and justify everything. But instead, what happens when you put your head down and you say no distractions, that's when you make the money. And this whole real estate experience, you know what I learned? And nothing against, listen, I know things can be offensive. You know what I learned? There's just as much backstabbing in real estate. Real estate agents leave one broker and then they go to another broker and they make that broker seem like that's the worst broker because they want you to follow them to the new broker, and then they're flashing their fancy cars and, oh, this is the only brokerage that you can come be a millionaire at. And when I saw that it was just as gross in real estate as it was just as gross in any industry, because at the end of the day, humans are going to be humans.
Of course.
So I put my head down. I got back in the industry of network marketing. It is where my heart has always been. It's where I've seen the most growth, personal growth in people, because in order to make money in network marketing, you really have to grow. You have to make a decision, whether it's Tony Robbins. I think Michael McConaughey now is like,
I know, I saw that. I'm like, well,
he
has
I
had
said,
the
Hollywood
Tony
must be
and
really suffering.
the Dean Graziosi energy. I'm like, that is the
Yeah.
layout of how they put it together. I'm like, that's Tony Robbins, 100%.
100%,
But
man.
it's beautiful what you said, because, and I mean, if I may cut you off, is that
Go.
from an actor to a publisher to whatever, to jumping into a new industry, just like you getting back into it. Nobody freaking cares if you change jobs, right? Or if you want to.
It can be done.
Yeah. And look at you.
I love watching him now. I'm like, I was listening to him the other day and I'm like, holy smoke. I mean, given he's easy on the eyes too, but I'm like watching it and I'm thinking, wow. At the end of the day, we all have a decision of what we want to do with our life. And how badly do you want what you want? Because I'll hear people say, oh my God, how did you move out of Miami? I can never leave here. Like, it's so hard to leave. No, it's not. It's not hard to leave. It's a decision. I love Miami. I'll go home. I get my food. I hang out with my culture. But the craziness, the traffic, the insanity, I can do without it. Now, if you tell me that you're done with that insanity, but you're not putting the actions, right? And you're telling me you want to get out, stop wanting what you don't want. Because it can be done. And I did. And I moved when my girls were still in school in 2019. I got set up here, and then their dad followed a couple of months later. The girls started to go to school here.
Well, 2019, just before COVID.
Yeah, I moved right before COVID. Right before. So my kids ended up doing homeschooling anyway, because 2020, everything was shut down and, everyone started going back to school in 2021. But all of that to say, whatever we do, whatever we choose, right? Because there is no cookie cutter.
No.
It's all a passion. It's a desire. And the energy that you and I exchanged, it started with our voices. We didn't even see each other's faces.
No.
People don't realize.
We saw a profile picture, just like Tinder. I saw a profile picture.
It's just like Tinder. Swipe. Listen, Tinder gets me in trouble. That's another podcast.
We could talk about that. Well, I mean, that said, I've never been on Tinder, so I don't even know how it looks like, nor Bumble, because I met my boyfriend like just classic in Florence streets, like in Italy, so just a classic Italian style. So I'm like, when somebody talks about it, I'm like, look, I know you swipe left, but that's all I know. So we won't go into that. But I love what you said, because network marketing is definitely it's a growth. And I think going back to your growth and, tapping onto, for example, Matthew McConaughey, it's the sexiness of the growth of how you look. I mean, you're absolutely stunning. But it's the growth that you've done over the years that make you attractive. And I can feel it in your voice. I can see it in how you show up. I can see it how you are. That's the beauty of it. And you cannot pay a fee to have that. The only reason why you are where you are today is because you've gone through the growth and you've had to learn from, being the what did you say? Was it the rudeness of a Jersey woman, but had to just adapt and learn. And every level in network marketing, if you have a team or no team at all, every level you're going to grow, because the team is going to take the living breath out of you, and you have to like set boundaries and know how to grow with other people's energies, which I think today is one of the most beautiful things, because that makes you, number one, a chameleon in life, but also helps you to not judge the person and detach from the outcome. But most importantly, you are able to invest in the person's personality. Like, you have empathy. And I think that's what's making you so successful today, which I
Thank
absolutely
you.
love.
Thank you. And the light in me recognizes the light in you. Have you ever heard that? That attraction, it's because you see in me what you possess,
Mm,
and
mm,
so many times, and I hope this is okay to share this here as we come to an end,
yeah, yeah.
so many times we quit because of a hater, right? And listen, I've had people open up Instagram pages pretending to be me just to trash me. And at
Mm.
the end of the day, I feel sorry, because humans like that, and because our friend in common
Yeah,
has a lot of haters, right?
she has that.
She
She
don't
does.
care. I love it when she gets out there. She's like, bring on the haters. It makes my check grow. Bring them on. Just
I
bring them
mean,
on.
it really did when we were part way, when it was insane. I actually
Yeah.
loved it because the responses were just like, they were perfection.
But people can be mean, right? And I think no matter how hard we go, oh, that's not going to affect me.
Yeah,
It does.
yeah,
So it's really giving ourselves the grace. And
yeah,
I want to put this message out there,
yeah,
giving ourselves the grace to really vibrate with the people that are on our level.
yeah.
And for those who criticize, for those who hate, for those who have to make us look bad so that they look good, feel sorry
Mhm.
for them, because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, they're missing out on their calling. They're going to have to wait for life to start all over for them to come back, and hopefully they've learned the lesson, but if not, we're going to keep learning the same lessons, because I'm a big believer that God gives us the opportunity to grow,
Oh,
right?
it
If
does.
there is no end, and I don't want to get into all that. I mean,
Mm.
I'm a believer, and
Yeah,
I
yeah,
know
same thing.
sometimes,
I always say,
yeah,
God, whatever you believe, but
yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
But for me personally, right, I'm a big believer that God didn't put me on this earth for me to cry over haters.
Oh, thank
God
God.
didn't put me on this earth for me to dwell on my mistakes. So for anybody who's listening and you're hard on yourself and you've made mistakes, and like I said, I've missed out on a lot of things on my kids. I was busy. I had a bunch of kids, and I can sit and write all the excuses, but at the end of the day, some of my kids were hurting and I didn't even see it, right? So we have the opportunity to grow. I'm not going to live in my past.
No.
If someone wants to remind me of who I was in 1995, right? Good luck with that. Go talk about Lily from 1995, because right now today I'm Lily of 2023.
23. I
And
love
guess
that.
what, baby girl? I'm in love with Lily that's coming up in 2030.
Oh, I'm so excited
I'm
because she's
in
gonna.
love with her, because she and we just working on this body's gonna get back to health. This
Yes.
body is going to get back to getting on target. And
Yes.
we need to teach that.
Yeah.
So many of us are so stuck in the
In the
past
past.
that we can't understand that the present is called the present because it's a
Yeah.
gift.
Yeah.
And the future is what we need to fall in love with, so that our minds can already see what our
See.
body cannot conceive.
Oh, I love that. That's so beautiful. And I know I could talk to you. Maybe we have to do a part two as we're wrapping up. But it just to jump back onto what Lily said. It's the fact that we're so much into the past, because social media will have you remember memories of back in the past that are negative or positive, or people have the audacity to tell you things that didn't really exist. But you said something that is so beautiful, is you're so excited about the Lily in 2030. And I think that's where we need to fuel. Where are we wanting to head? How are we wanting to be this new person? I was talking to my sister the other day, and she was having trouble, wanting to become somebody that she desires to be. And I was like, well, if you're letting the past hold you down and you're wanting everybody to like you, it's not going to work. You're going to have to own who you are. Your mistakes, you can't change it. But what you can do is you're qualified to tell your story, to inspire other women that have gone what you have been through. And that's the visual part of getting into 2023, because you're owning just being happy. I think there's enough negativity on social media today or in the
Yeah.
world that we don't need that. But what we do need is, okay, why am I excited? Where can I go? And I think you're the perfect person to say that, because you're walking into it. Lily did say that be interested and invested in people. That's really what's going to get you. So last thing I want to leave you is, what are we expecting of you as of 2023? Like, what is changing that's going to just completely shift you? Is there something you're going to work on?
Heck yeah. I don't know if you know, I had surgery. I had an emergency surgery in February, right? And a kind of a fork in the road where I can go, woe unto me. They disfigured my body. Like, it's been
Wow.
a journey. I've been having to just tell myself, okay, Lily, you just went through it. So what I'm doing is focused on that new Lily, the vibrant Lily, defying the odds. Because, I love when the medical community likes to tell you what's going to happen to you in the next
Oh my God.
year.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I serve a mighty God. I'm the daughter of a king. Like, I
Amen. Miracles are happening.
surrounded with light. You are one of them. You are one of them. So continually, you're asking me what's there to expect? More of you, honey. My life is going to be surrounded with good energy. When things come our way, we get a choice. We are going to woe unto ourselves, or we're going to become victorious. And I'm looking forward to an in shape, right? Better eating, obviously developing better habits.
Put that six
I
pack.
hired my own doctor. I have my own functional medicine doctor, who isn't telling me what the future holds to me
Yeah.
in a negative way. He's telling me what my choices and my decisions today will give me a positive tomorrow. And he knows what he's doing. He's worth every freaking cent that I've given him. So I'm praying and I'm hoping that the world wakes up to their own body, that we can all grow and be better instead of living fear mongering and believing everything that's around us. So the world needs more of you, my dear.
Oh, it
Thank
is
you for
what
having
you.
a platform like this, allowing people to share their stories, because this is where growth happens, right? Like, you get to meet my circle of influence, and my friends are going to be like, oh my God, how'd you meet her?
Clubhouse.
So the future, what's ahead, is vibrant,
I'm excited.
harmonized,
Can't wait.
and a light, because we were created to be a light to the world.
Right.
That's what we
Oh,
were created to do.
what a perfect way to end this podcast. Thank you, I love, for this. I can't wait. I'm just so excited. Just for you guys know that Lily, I just met her on Clubhouse, and then we just follow on Instagram, just followed her story, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I just need you on. Lily, thank you so much for all these nuggets. I mean, guys, we always say a short pen is always better than a long-term memory. We've written notes here. I'm just really excited. Thank you, Lily, for this. You guys can watch it here. If you're watching or you're listening to this, tell us what resonated. I will leave it in the comment section box below, above, wherever it is, so you can reach out and follow Lily's journey. We are sending so much love and prayer to you. Guys, thank you so much. Remember to be you, do you. The world does not dictate who you are, but you dictate the world. Talk to you guys later.
Bye.